Today I'm going to be reviewing If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. If Beale Street Could Talk is a novel that's for the most part about racism and love. Especially racism plays a huge role in this story. Uh, I'm just give an example why that is. Um, for example, Fani, one of the main characters in this story, gets locked up because he's falsely accused of raping a woman. And that woman was raped in his street where he lives, and she was raped by a black man. And just because he's black, everybody just assumes he's the one that did it because he's the only black person that lives in that street. Well, obviously he didn't do it, but he gets locked up. And all this happens while he's in love with Tish, his girlfriend, who's one of the main characters as well. And she's also pregnant, so that makes things extra complicated. I personally think this is a fantastic book. It's very well written. It wasn't too difficult for me to read. The story was definitely not boring. I read the book in about 4 hours maybe, and when I was reading the book, I could really empathize myself in the story. I was especially feeling for Fani and Tish while Fani was in jail. Well, like I already said, racism plays a major part in the story. And this book really gives me a good understanding of the lives of black people who were living in America back then. And I think it's good that people write about racism or discrimination just to remind us how crazy it actually is judging someone by their skin color. Okay, James Baldwin wrote If Beale Street Could Talk in 1974. The Beale Street of the title refers to the street where Tish and Tani and Fanny live. Tish thinks that people aren't always truthful, and this is why Fanny is accused of rape, which he didn't commit, obviously. And if the street could talk, Fanny wouldn't have to go to jail because it would tell the truth. Even though all forms of segregation were declared by the Supreme Court in 1968, I feel like black people are still being discriminated to this day, at least in America. The story of the book takes set in the early 1970s, and still there are signs of racism. For example, that Fanny and Tish were having trouble finding an apartment just because they're black, or because they just assumed everybody just assumed Fanny raped a woman only because he's black. Baldwin himself saw these sort of things happening in his own life and in his family's life and in his friends' lives. And I think that's what it has inspired him to write this novel. Thank you for listening.